I wanted to do this so I could talk about what it takes to actually create an environment for effectiveness and performance and leadership and connectedness. And really what it takes is environments where you can have honest conversations. And sometimes when people think about that, they confuse clarity with cruelty. But the truth is, it's actually the lack of clarity. That's where the real harm happens. So often than not, people are afraid of ruffling feathers. You'll hear like stepping on eggshells. You will often hear people are afraid to say what's actually on their minds in order to keep kind of everything moving the way it's moving. And because of that, it avoids conflict. And conflict isn't the problem, because conflict actually creates. And you want to ideally then create an environment where people can feel safe in their communication to have disagreements, to have the best ideas come forward, to address what's actually happening in the room, or what's happening with the company, or with the culture, or with people, and the way that they communicate with one another, or treat one another, or engage with one another, so that everybody can actually start rowing in the same direction. People know. Like, people can feel when you're withholding something, and by doing that, it's almost in our subconscious, it lets us know like something's wrong. So if we feel like something's wrong, boom, guard comes up. And now we're gonna be in like a survival state, or we're gonna be operating from fear, from self-protection, which takes us away from creativity, which takes us away from connection. So I kind of want to talk to you guys about that. Like, I've seen leaders stall entire teams out of saying what's true. Fear that it would take to just say what's there. They say naming it, talk about it, address it. That's why we have elephant in the room, right? When you name it, it takes 3 seconds of courage oftentimes. It's like punching a hole through a paper tiger. Then all of a sudden things become possible. Being willing to like stand in the discomfort for a moment and just like say what's there. Successful teams, like strong leaders, they create environments of healthy disagreement, healthy discourse. They invite brainstorming, they invite challenges, they invite creativity. They don't circle around things. The idea of safe, it isn't really safe. And they'll often say, well, it's where I'm most comfortable. I'm like, I would then sometimes assert, is it where you're most familiar? Is it what you're used to? Is that pattern that's there literally familiar versus comfortable? Because when people are actually comfortable, they're loose, there's freedom, there's relaxation, and that's when new ideas stem forth. And then people can align and like come up with pathways that are effective to fulfill on those new goals that they want to do. So the cost of it is, like, in the absence of actual information, people make up stories. They absolutely do. In those blanks, they'll come up with the worst assumptions. 99 things could be going great, and the mind's always going to be programmed for the one conflict or one issue. Leaders, they often unintentionally then create that emotional distance, which enables people to create those stories that get in the way, that conflict. So when I think about it, like, clarity is not brutality, It's being able to stand there and be like, I see you and I respect you enough to be honest. It's actually taking care of your people. When you deliver clarity specifically with compassion, that's where you can create alignment. That's where you don't have conflict. The background is literally a place of support, and you have to match it with how you're being, so the compassion needs to be there, because you're actually doing what's best to actually take care of them. When we create these containers of safety, it makes things truly possible. It's the oil and water that I talk about that often creates this space so that you can start to see all these different ideas and ways of being. Something to consider for yourself is like, where am I avoiding clarity right now? What should I take to say it with courage and care? Utilize that 3 seconds of courage motion or moment if you replace that ambiguity with clarity. Be willing to see what shows up. And I honestly would love to hear what happened. Hope this was helpful.